Hi friends, foes and countrymen. I'm trying to do this perfectly and there's no such thing as perfect under this amount of stress. I think I'm going to entitle this something like Miss Swiston, which is SG's real name or maiden name, Garda, Gerry, and the word of their testimony. I watched a video, Guidance 2222 put it up about a week ago, saying never talk to the police, and it was a lecture by one of the top law professors in the US saying why you should never talk to the police, you should always plead the fifth. And it was an ex-copper, very senior copper, saying the same, how many cases he had entrapped people because they had spoken to him, as opposed to pleading the Fifth Amendment, which is the right to stay silent. And I watched it and I thought about it, and I know that various legal people advise the same. But the truth is, I'd rather obey the word of God, and one of the most profound scriptures to me is they overcame by the blood of the Lamb, which is the only and ultimate and last sacrifice authorized by God, which was Jesus, who was raised from the dead after 3 days. The word of their testimony, which is telling the truth, disclosing, not deliberately triggering or traumatizing, but telling the truth, and that they feared not for their lives, even unto death. So a lot of times people are compromised into not telling the truth because it could have legal ramifications, or they could get tricked on a technicality, or so on and so forth, lose their job, lose their influence, and so on. So that's my mantra, the word of their testimony. And the other one is that you shall know the truth, and the truth will make you free. So I prefer, to finish the twilight years of my life. Maybe they're not. I'm going to be 64 in June. My mother didn't die till she was 87. My dad's still alive at 94. So maybe there's more to go if Jesus tarries. But I prefer to spend my twilight years not focused on how I might die, but rather focused on speaking the truth until the final curtain falls. So according to Sharon Swiston, Latter was her married name, many names, Detective Constable Gerry Goldrick of Kells Garda Station in County Meath told her on the phone, and I can give you evidence of this if I can be bothered, but I do have it recorded, that she could fly from the UK to the Republic of Ireland in May under exceptional circumstances to try and make a case that I am harassing her, and that she is the keeper of the law in the UK, where I inadvertently mentioned a child's name in a UK family court case, or even criminal court case now, but retracted and edited it as soon as I was made aware of that. Better people than you have used common sense in this situation. I remember with baby H and Mummy T's case, where I was a lay litigant in Monaghan, Justice Gibbons, when he was confronted by a Tusla barrister, a particularly unpleasant one that seemed to delight in taking children from loving parents, and she said, she named the child, she's live streaming every night, she named the child, and the judge said to her, please don't waste my time. Don't waste my time. This is clearly a good woman who cares and is trying to help. Go and complain to the guards. Don't waste my court time. He said that. Find the transcript. So, Yeah, so DC Gerry Goldrick, unless you've been promoted already, I hope you're not another Steve Martin who really and truly was suspended and is an unlawful witness for all the past court cases. But I really hope, Gerry, that you're not. But Sharon Gale, aka Sharon Swiston of Portsmouth, is putting it on the internet that you told her she can travel from the UK to Ireland in May with the exceptional circumstances of attempting to report me for some UK legal issues. So I would address your Sergeant, DS Mark Luby, and your Superintendent, Thelma Waters, DCI, I don't know what that title is, but Thelma Waters, and ask if you've overstepped your authority, Gerry, by saying such a thing, or is Miss Swiston being telling fibs, telling lies? I don't know, but this is serious. So it was a thing with Ricky Dearman. Ricky Dearman flew to the Republic of Ireland, to my local Garda station, in June 2018, shortly after he had put his children back on the international stage, on the Hampstead children, on an eBay promotional video. Faces, everything, fake names, but anybody who had heard those children's testimonies in 2015 knew instantly who they were. I didn't name them, but Hoaxted, in attacking me, acknowledged it was Ricky and the children, which a blind man on a galloping horse knew anyway. So Ricky flew over to Meath and made a statement which was read out to me. And on foot of that, 6 weeks later, Gerry Goldrick managed to persuade Mark Luby and three others, to raid my house and take my computer, 2 laptops, a phone. They also took an iPad, but I got the phone and the iPad back. The PC and 2 laptops still, 2.5 years later, legally stolen, to be honest. But the so-called investigation went on for a while, and then a file was sent to the DPP. And I went into Gerry's boss and said, it's a bit disturbing to me that Ricky Dearman is in constant communication with Gerry by phone and email, and I'm not given the right to reply. What's going on here? And DS Mark Luby made a point of calling Gerry down to the office where I was raising this concern. And he said, right, this needs to stop. You need to tell anybody that phones or emails you regarding this case that it's been sent to the DPP, and until the DPP makes a decision, we can't discuss the case nor take additional so-called evidence. So has that changed, Mark? Is Gerry acting outside of his authority, or is Sharon telling lies? This is the thing. I'll do a brief sharing here of evidence, but there's mountains of evidence. I can timestamp them, I can gather you up an evidence folder, but I know even in Kells Barracks you're not particularly fond of video evidence. You'd rather have, I probably should write to you. So yeah, the likes of Shiva Burton. There was another girl that I interviewed who claims to be the child of the paedophile priest Brendan Smith, and possibly is, but she was coerced into faking up another charge or allegation against me that my sons had beaten her up outside Kells Garda station as she tried to report me. And I reported that to Detective Sergeant Mark Luby as well. And he said that's absolute rubbish, no such thing occurred, no such thing is recorded on CCTV. and your sons should take legal action against those kind of allegations. Who else? Yolanda Kenwood made complaints. Prue Halliwell. I mean, the list of characters that have jumped on the bandwagon to try and get me in jail. I do wonder, is it part of a detective's remit to fact check the characters reporting? You know, sadly, I say sadly because I'm a bit of an empath, but she was extremely malicious towards me. Yolanda Kenwood, aka Yolanda Lindridge, aka Yolanda Gordon, posted frantically on Facebook last week that the police were battering down her door. She's been sectioned on more than one occasion, you know. As I said in a previous video, Sharon has formed 2 convictions, according to her, for assaulting police officers. She cost the British taxpayers 4.5 million or more in a court case where her superb research and subcontext of vaccine damage of baby Charlotte seems to have muddied the waters sufficiently that although the judge said he had no doubt whatsoever that baby Charlotte had been abused, and although Sharon's own testimony said that she and the others were in the kitchen cooking Sunday lunch, her boyfriend of the time, later to become her husband very conveniently, went upstairs to feed the baby, 10-week-old baby who'd been very ill, and there were 2 large bangs, and then Sharon ran up and discovered an emergency which resulted in the baby dying with 32 fractures. So the judge said he had no doubt whatsoever that the baby had been abused, and but he couldn't prove who did it. So the husband was acquitted. And I suppose the most relevant thing I can share at this moment, and I wish I was wrong about this, but I don't think I am, I'm going to show you this haunting video on YouTube. This is under fair use. So here we go. Now it's set to music and so on, but look, just hear the truth and the appalling thing that the trolls or the Sharon sympathisers tried to say. Let me just play this for you and hear it for yourself.
Like a million bullshit artists on the internet, and I'm not one of them. I've told so many lies. You've got...
She says, I've told so many lies. And the defence was trying to say that she's saying, I'm told so many lies. Let's listen one more time.
A million bullshit artists on the internet, and I'm not one of them. I've told so many lies. You've got like a million bullshit artists on the internet, and I'm not one of them. I've told so many lies.
Right, well that's interesting. That's interesting. She may have said I'm told so many lies. I don't know about that. But I'm afraid the evidence... Now this is... she got banned in Ireland on defamation grounds. She's mixing with so many trolls, paedophile protectors, adult sex site administrators, and so on and so forth. The company she's keeping, my grandpa used to say, show me your company and I'll show you your character. So this King Cobra, JSF and other madness, video unavailable. This content is not available in this country, on this country domain, which is Ireland, due to a defamation complaint. So that was a complaint by me, and I'll go on to show you how abusive she was. about me, trying to pretend that because she didn't name me, that got her off the hook.
Good
So
morning,
we'll
folks.
share a
How
bit
are
of
we
this.
doing? It's an absolutely beautiful John Wedger return. It's just a really quick little upload. Some unknown person.
Fair use, YouTube. Some unknown person.
Jessica Fletcher wouldn't be required here. So I've got in my emails this morning to see.
She goes on to say she got a defamation complaint.
No, but what I did have was a email from YouTube.
Get on
We'll
with it,
read
woman.
it. Complaint regarding your account. Oh no, what heinous crime has been committed here? Not spurious accusations and, you know, all the other things that have been done to me on the internet. But we won't name this individual. It will become apparently clear what old, washed out old hag done this. As we go.
Yeah, so she continues to be abusive, even though she's received that copyright strike. I told so many lies. Yeah, I want to play that one more time. She might be saying I'm told so many lies. I'll show you another one where she's clearly a domestic violence victim. Now that would be an exemption for travel, but reporting APD for outing you, sweetheart, I think Detective Constable Gerry Goldrick may need to explain his classification of that as essential travel. And the point, there is one more, what was it I wanted to show you? I said just then, it'll come to me. It's like, I actually unsubscribed to this misfortunate woman and stopped following her, but then people send me, because she keeps abusing me online and naming me, so maybe we've achieved this much. So even though she calls me a washed up old hag and all these abusive terms in this video, she doesn't say my name. So maybe we've achieved something by getting a defamation strike, but I'm not stopping there. And I suppose the bottom line is, oh God, if it is a foot, right, I want to get back focused, so I'm going to stop share. If it is a plan of the Ricky Dearmans, the Karen Irvings, the Shiva Burtons, the Sharon Gales, Swistons, whatever, you know, if it is a plan to stalk me legally until I'm incarcerated or sectioned and silenced, as is quite plausible, because the other curious thing that Sharon reports, and I have got this downloaded and backed up, so, you know, the Kells Barracks are not very good at following videos, but if they're interested, I've got the evidence. The other interesting thing is that Sharon says, I've got to keep focused because this is very triggering for me. I'm not doing a my PTSD. No, I'm just saying this is triggering. It's hard not to dissociate while relating this. So the other curious thing about telling Sharon to come in May is there was no cybercrime legislation in Ireland in place. And I know this because I reported death threats and trolling back as far as, I think, 2016, 17, 18. And I got crime numbers, but I was told, we don't have legislation for that in Ireland, by Garda Donahue. So they're now trying to introduce cybercrime legislation under the Cocos law, which is very valid and tragic. Coco is the nickname of a teenager that committed suicide because of cyberbullying and in-person bullying. She was beaten up repeatedly at her local nightclub by school friends. So it's a bit like the children's laws that are introduced, which look like they're there to protect children, but turn out to be a child trafficking loophole created in the law. You know, for instance, taking children who social workers, sometimes 21 or 2, with no experience, who deem at risk of future emotional harm. So similarly, I hope not, but I fear that Cocos law will be similarly abused to silence and censor people telling uncomfortable truths. So if it's a case that by May Cocos law should be in place, and Garda, Gerry has advised Sharon, oh yes, you'll be allowed to travel as exceptional circumstances. If it's a case of, come on, rally round, bring me up your Yolandas, your Sharons, your Shivas, your whatever the other lady was that I interviewed, alleged child of Brendan Smith, you know, come on, all come forward, and your Prue Halliwells, Heather Browns, all come forward, and we'll bury Angie as a startling voice of truth in the Republic of Ireland and covering the UK and America as well. If that's the ploy, well, nothing can be done without God allowing it. Just read the book of Job. And I've already said, in order for me to keep being brave, I had to confront my fear of being sent to prison. And I've done that. I've done that. And that's part of the courage of Nikki Cooper and Tiana Jensen and others who have held the line and said, bring it on, you know, because you might be able to imprison and torture and torment the earth suit, but you cannot imprison my soul or my truth or the truth. And when it comes to eternity, you could well be signing your own death, what do you call it, your death, I can't remember the word anyway, the phrase escapes me, because this is upsetting, but I'm not caving to this, you know, I'm not caving to this. And you're mocking God is what you're doing. And it's not going to end well. It's really not going to end well. So, Detective Sergeant Mark Luby, if you meant it, I don't know if I said, because he did say to Gerry, stop taking phone calls from Ricky Dearman and others and emails and blah, 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 because we've done our primary work. We've sent a file to the DPP. That was a year ago. There is no response, and in the interim we will not be, gathering additional information. Did you mean that, Mark? And if you did, can you have a word with Gerry? I have heard of police in different jurisdictions that have had to deal with Ricky Dearman having 4,000 emails from him over the course of their investigation. Is Freemasonry really probably that prevalent in Ireland? Yes, probably. It's like one of my nieces worked in a cafe in Virginia called the Mason's Apron, and it took me years, even as a researcher, sorry, my voice is bad, for the penny to drop. Mason's Apron? What? So, there are cults in Ireland, Opus Dei, Knights of Malta, Knights of Columbus, Jesuit Catholicism, also Freemasonry, very active, Hellfire clubs, Dashwood. Nathaniel Harris, I can't remember who it was, somebody mentioned Dashwood. Sir Francis Dashwood is the ancestor of our local dame, Emily Napper. He's her great-grandfather or great-great-grandfather, and the creator of the Hellfire clubs. So anyway, I don't mean to digress. This has probably been longer than intended, but que sera, sera, but beware beware being the hand that causes God's children to stumble and child abuse and ritual abuse to be covered up. Don't let it be at your hands, because that will be a sentence that lasts for eternity. So if you're being blackmailed, Sharon, or bribed, it's not too late to stop it. God bless. Check the description, check the links, support in any way. Please pray, including for these people, please pray. And if I can make more notes and make a more detailed thing, I will. Sharon got myself a copyright strike for featuring 2.5 minutes of her abusing me in a video, addressing me in a video, and she managed to get a copyright strike. And I've appealed under fair use. And it's hilarious that she thinks she can get a video channel struck for sharing 2.5 minutes where she is addressing me in person, but she can feature different chefs and people for their entire videos. And one rule for her and one rule for the others. I'm still praying that you know, something good will come out of this. But if somebody persists in doing the work of the devil, they will get the devil's reward.